Welcome back, dear students, to the part 3 from kinetic theory. Here we are going to discuss about degrees of freedom and the law of equipartition of energy. Let us see first what is meant by degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom can be defined as independent displacements or rotations that specify the orientation of a body or a system. That is, a molecule is free to move in space and it needs 3 coordinates to specify its location. If it is constrained to move in a plane, it needs to fix one of its coordinates. If it is constrained to move along a line, it needs just one coordinate to locate it. For example, consider a room, and if we tie a thick rope from one wall to another. Take a ball which is moving straight on the rope. This ball has only 1 degree of freedom. That is, it can move only along the x-axis. Its motion to y or z direction is restricted. Consider that the ball is on the floor, which is 2-dimensional. Then the ball can move along 2 directions, that is x and y axis, but it cannot move along the z axis. Therefore, the ball has 2 degrees of freedom. Considering that we are throwing the ball in space, which is 3-dimensional, then the ball can move in 3 directions, that is along the x direction, y direction and z direction. Therefore, the ball will have 3 degrees of freedom. Hence, degree of freedom tells us in how many ways a body can move, rotate or vibrate. Now let us discuss about the types of degrees of freedom. The first one is translational degree of freedom. Translation means motion of a body as a whole from one point to another. If you are taking the example of an oxygen molecule, it has 2 atoms which are bonded together. The 2 atoms along with the bond are considered as a whole body. When the body as a whole is moving from one point to another, it is known as translational motion. Now consider a molecule which is free to move in space so that it needs 3 coordinates to specify its location. As we had discussed, this molecule will be having 3 degrees of freedom. Similarly, a molecule which is free to move in a plane, which is 2-dimensional, will be having 2 degrees of freedom. Similarly, a molecule which is free to move in a line requires only 1 coordinate and it has 1 degree of freedom. Molecules of monatomic gas have only translational degrees of freedom. For example, helium atom consists of only 1 atom and it will have translational degrees of freedom alone. In thermal equilibrium, the average contribution of a translational degree of freedom is half kBT. Now let us discuss about rotational degree of freedom. It means the independent rotations that specify the orientation of a body or a system. There is rotation of one part of the body with respect to the other part in this type of motion. Rotational degree of freedom happens only in the case of a diatomic gas. Diatomic molecules will have rotational degree of freedom in addition to translational degrees of freedom. It is possible in diatomic molecules as two atoms are connected together by a bond. So, there is rotation of one atom with respect to the other atom. That is, in diatomic molecules, there is translation in addition to that they have rotational degrees of freedom also. For example, two oxygen atoms are joined together by a bond. There are two perpendicular axes and two rotations are possible along these two axes. They have three translational degrees of freedom and two rotational degrees of freedom. That is, rotational degree of freedom contributes a term to the energy that contains square of a rotational variable of motion. Now let us see the rotational variable of motion which comes from angular momentum omega. Let the linear velocity be Vx, Vy and Vz and the angular velocities be omega x, omega y and omega z along the x, y and z directions. Then the energy contribution due to this rotational variable of motion is half I1 omega 1 square plus half I2 omega 2 square. These are three rotational degrees of freedom along the two perpendicular axes. The total energy contribution due to the degrees of freedom of the oxygen molecule will be half m x Vx square plus half my Vy square plus half mz Vz square plus half I1 omega 1 square plus half I2 omega 2 square. Now let us have a look on the vibrational degree of freedom. Some molecules have a mode of vibration. That is, its atoms oscillate along the interatomic axis. For example, carbon monoxide atoms oscillate along their interatomic axis. Now let us consider two atoms which vibrate along their interatomic axis. Then the vibrational energy term contains the square of vibrational variables of motion. That is, energy contribution due to vibrational energy will be EV is equivalent to half m dy by dt whole square plus half k y square. Here half m v square or half m dy by dt whole square represents the kinetic energy and half k y square represents the potential energy. Here k is the force constant. The vibrational degree of freedom contributes two terms to the energies. Now let us have a comparison between the three energy modes: translational, rotational and vibrational. The energy contribution due to translational motion will be Et is equivalent to half m Vx square. Due to rotational degree of motion, it will be Er is equivalent to half I omega square. Due to vibrational degree of motion, Ev is equivalent to half m into dy by dt whole square plus half k y square. Now let us have a conclusion of these degrees of freedom and look at the law of equipartition of energy. According to this law, in equilibrium, The total energy is equally distributed in all possible energy modes, with each mode having an average energy of half kBT. That is, each translational degree of freedom contributes half kBT. Each rotational degree of freedom contributes half kBT, and each vibrational degree of freedom contributes 2 into half kBT, which is kBT. You might have got an idea about the degrees of freedom and also the law of equipartition of energy. Thank you, dears.